And you can see how easy that meat just kind of pulls apart. Oh yeah, fork tender. Today I'm going to show you how to make an amazing beef stew, more specifically a beef burgundy or beef bourguignon. Let's start with about 2.5 to 3 pounds of chuck roast, and I just cut it up into about 1.5 inch to 2 inches squares. And what we're going to do is we'll take some kosher salt, some pepper, and let's just let this sit a little bit while we cook up the bacon. All right, so I have my Dutch oven on my stovetop set to medium heat, and you let it heat up, and then I want to add in my bacon. This is about 4 strips of bacon that I just cut up into little squares. You could use more or less if you want of the bacon. Oh, bacon, gotta love bacon. So let's just cook these down until they get nice and crispy and brown. Okay, once the bacon has gotten nice and brown, we want to just take it out. And I'm just using my slotted spoon here. This is a silicone spoon, really great utensil. And we'll just drain it a little bit and then add it to a plate with paper towel. And now what we do is we want to sear the steak. I'm going to take my steak and I'm going to put it down, and we don't want to crowd it, but we want to brown all the sides. And this process, browning all the meat, will take probably about 15 minutes total. And make sure you don't skip this step, because this is going to add tremendous flavor to your meat. All right, once I got them browned, I'm going to take them, remove them, and put them on that same plate that I have the bacon. Also, make sure to trim some of the fat off from your chuck roast. All the real big pieces of fat, you can leave some of it on there. Okay, the last bit of the steak is ready to go. I'll remove it from the pan. And now we will add in 1 medium onion that I've sliced. And we'll put in carrots. I have about 6 medium carrots that I peeled and just cut up into about 2.5 inch chunks. More salt, kosher salt, a little pepper. And let's just render these down a little bit. We're going to let the onions and carrots saute for about 5 minutes. Also at this point, I am going to preheat the oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, after about 5 minutes of sauteing the onions and carrots, I'm going to add in about 5 cloves of garlic. I want to give that a chance to cook a little bit. Just let the garlic saute in with the onions and carrots for about 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, now at this point we want to add in our tomato paste. This is 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And let's just cook that down in there. And just kind of cook out some of that tomato paste flavor. All right, after about a couple minutes, we want to add in about 3 tablespoons of flour. And we want to cook that for a while just to kind of cook off some of that flour taste. And this is going to help thicken our stew later on. All right, after a couple minutes, you'll notice on the bottom there's all this stuff on the bottom. It's called fond, and we want to get that up or remove that up. There's a lot of good flavor there. And so it's called deglazing the pan, and we're going to deglaze it with some red wine. This is a Pinot Noir red wine, but this is 500 milliliters, a little bit over 2 cups. So let's put that in there and let it heat up and simmer a bit. And it's going to pull up that stuff on the bottom of the pan. Once we start to see it bubbling, we will add in our beef and then our bacon. And then we'll add in about 3 tablespoons of fresh parsley, about 1 tablespoon of fresh thyme, and then a couple of bay leaves. We'll stir that in. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then now we want to take some beef broth and pour enough in there to cover the, just till it's about covering the top. about like that, which is about 3 cups. And now we put the lid on our Dutch oven, and we are going to bake this in the oven at 325 Fahrenheit or 162 Celsius, and we're gonna bake it, braise it. It's called braising. We're gonna braise this for 2.5 to 3 hours until the meat is nice and tender. After 90 minutes, we're gonna take it out of the oven and take a peek and give everything a good stir. Oh yeah. Come in here, lid back on, into the oven for another hour to an hour and a half. All right, once we have about 45 minutes before our stew is gonna be done, I am going to take a small pot of water and bring it to a boil. And then I'm going to put in my pearl onions. And we're gonna just let them cook for about a minute. I'm just gonna just loosen up those skins. All right, that's good enough. I'm gonna remove that and drain it. And then what we do is after we drain them, we'll take it and we'll cut off the edge, cut off the end, and then squeeze off all the skin like that. Okay? Awesome. Let's do that with all of these. All right, now let's bring these over to the stovetop. All right, so I have a skillet here with a couple tablespoons of oil in it, and the heat set to medium. And then once the oil in the pan starts to shimmer, we can go ahead and put in the onions. And we will just saute these a bit until they get some nice color on them. I will add just a little bit of salt with them. Once they start to brown a little, the onions, what I like to do, I'm gonna add in my mushrooms, and you could cook these separate. A lot of times the mushrooms are cooked separate with some butter. I'm just gonna put them in here as well with the onions. And just saute both of these together. Okay, after about 5 minutes or so, we've gotten some nice color on the onions and on the mushrooms. Let's add in just a little bit of beef stock, remaining beef stock that we have, and deglaze that pan a little. Don't need to do too much, maybe about a half a cup. And we'll just let this sit for about 20 minutes or so, and it's going to just render off that liquid a little bit. All right, it's time to pull the stew out of the oven, and these have reduced down a bit. I'm going to just remove these and put them in another bowl here. And we can add this straight to the stew, or we can just serve it on the side with it. Whatever you'd like to do. Take off the lid. Oh yeah, looks awesome. That looks so good. What we want to do is we want to find those bay leaves and remove those. And then what I want to do to serve up is I'm going to take my slotted spoon and serve up some. And now I'm going to add some of my onions and mushrooms. And then come in here with some fresh parsley and garnish it. And there we have it, beef bourguignon. And then come in here with a fork, and you can see how easy that meat just kind of pulls apart. Oh yeah, fork tender. Yummy! And that is how I make beef bourguignon. Pretty easy to do. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm Matt Taylor. This has been another episode of In the Kitchen with Matt. Thank you for joining me. Take care. Time for me to dive into this. Oh yeah, my favorite part of the show. Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Oh yeah. So yummy.